Welcome to In Tune. I'm your co-host, Matt Rector, an aspiring luthier from Baltimore, Maryland.
And I'm your other co-host, Ethan Morset, a music producer and founder of Blue Haven Music based in Minnesota.
Our goal is to provide value to enterprising musicians, artists, and craftspeople by sharing our conversations and the lessons we've learned along the way.
If you like our content, help us out by following us and giving us a positive rating on whatever platform you listen to podcasts. Tune in for new episodes on the first and third Wednesday of each month. This is episode 38. We are at yet another update episode. And if you've been following us from the very beginning, you will realize we have come very, very far. So today, without further ado, I want to hear what is happening with Rector Guitars. Matt Rector, CEO of Rector Guitars. What has been going on?
Well, I would say I've had some fun things going on in my personal life recently. Abby and I, we went on a little road trip. Abby's my wife, for those who don't know. But
Hi, Abby.
Anyway, yeah, we went on a little New England road trip, and we visited a whole bunch of states. So we went to Niagara Falls in New York. Then we headed up to, we went to Vermont, and we visited Burlington and Stowe. And then we went to Maine. We visited Acadia National Park. In, I think, one of our previous episodes, I did mention that this road trip was coming up. And one of the things I was excited about was getting to visit my favorite, modern hand tool manufacturer today. And that's Lee Nielsen Tool Works in Warren, Maine. So I did get to visit. They're not doing any factory tours. They haven't done that since the pandemic. But I still got to visit and kind of peer into the... they have like these big windows, so you can kind of look in, and I got to see some of the production going on. Mm-hmm. And I picked up a couple tools while I'm there, of course. So I was pretty stoked about that. That was pretty much the one. I don't like junky souvenirs that are just gonna like get thrown in the trash later or donated or whatever. So like that was like the one thing that I splurged on the trip. So I was pretty excited about that. And then from there, we sort of worked our way back down after we did Acadia to like down the eastern seaboard. We did like Portsmouth, New Hampshire. We did Salem, Massachusetts. That was really cool. That was really interesting.
That would be really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, there's houses there from like the 1600s.
Do they have a get burned at the stake package that you can buy?
Well, I don't know about that, but there's definitely a lot of tourism, of course, that revolves around, the Salem witch trials.
You just go on TripAdvisor and they're like, you have to buy the get burned at the stake package.
Yeah, that's the number one attraction there. It's so good that you'll never want to leave.
And you'll never be able to.
Yeah.
It comes with an urn to put your ashes in.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, sorry.
No disrespect to any of the victims of the Salem witch trials. That was a very tragic event in our history. But anyway, it was very interesting to me because that's really all that I knew about Salem. And we did a little trolley tour, and I didn't realize that early in America's history, Salem was one of the biggest, if not the largest, port city until like New York, Philly, Boston, like until those cities sort of grew and took over. In like the earliest colonial days of the United States, Salem was I mean, it was huge. Like that was the biggest port city in New England
Interesting.
at the time. So there was a lot of history there that I didn't really know about the city,
Mm-hmm.
and that was pretty interesting. Like just beyond, only the witch trials. And we were there in October, so of course there were lots of Halloween festivities.
Of course. Like getting burned at the stake.
I don't even know what to say to
I'm
that
just
anymore.
really stuck on that. Anyway, shout out to Tim who I'm drinking alcohol, just so you know. I don't condone drinking alcohol, just FYI, it just happened to be drinking alcohol. And I know I am not an alcoholic. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. So you went to Salem, you were on a trip.
Yeah, so that was a fun thing in my personal life. I haven't really taken much of a vacation at all this year. I took some time off. I had surgery earlier in the year, and I took some time off to do some hiking and backpacking when you and our friend Ryan came out.
Hey, Ryan.
But beyond that, we hadn't really gone anywhere, and so it was just a nice break before I sort of gear up for the busy holiday retail season. So I know I've talked about this before. I work for a jewelry company, and so to be honest, for the next couple months, rest of November and December, I'm not really going to have a lot of extra free time to be able to do too much. So some of the Rector guitar stuff is going to be on hold for a little bit, but I'm still plugging away. I have been working on fixing up a guitar. I took the frets out the other day, so I'm doing a refret right now. And beyond that, just little workshop improvements here and there. I added some privacy film to my workshop, and I think it turned out really well. It looks really cool.
Yep, I agree. It has a classy look.
Mm-hmm. It looks sort of like the windows of an old Tudor house, and it has like a stained glass kind of look to it. But mostly it's because I have all my hand tools hanging on the wall, like saws and things, and behind where I live there's like a little path, and I think that it might be sort of frowned upon. Like I live in an apartment, and so I do have a spare room that I have set up for my workshop space.
Yep.
It's a hand tool oriented shop, so I'm respectful of my neighbors. I don't like bang away with a hammer at in the middle of the night or
3
anything
a.m.
like
in
that.
the morning, yeah.
Yeah, but I still think if a passerby is walking by and they peer in and they see a guy holding a saw, like it's, I don't know. I think it might weird people out a little bit.
Their imagination might run wild, so.
So I just want to avoid anything like that. I've been working in the workshop before and seen people walk by when I was working on something, and they kind of like did a double take. So I just decided to put up some privacy film on my windows. I like to have, the light that comes in, but I wanted to just sort of reduce the chance of someone getting the wrong idea.
You should put a little sticker on the outside of your window saying, I cut things with saws, beware. And then you should get that thing that Tim had where it looks like a saw that had blood on it.
Oh my gosh. It'd have to be really, really big for people to see it, because I am on the second floor, so like you have to sort of look up.
Yeah. It'd be great. It'd be great.
Have to be a pretty big sign. I will say that at nighttime, if you walk past with the lights on, or when I'm in there and the lights are on, the stained glass it looks really pretty from the outside. And it looks really pretty from the inside when the sun is shining through it during the day. But it looks really cool at night as well. So people, I'm sure, will still look at it. There, I have a little patio out there, but they can't really see it inside. So,
which is the point, right?
yeah.
That's cool though.
Anyway,
yeah, I've seen it. It looks cool.
Thanks. Yeah, I was happy with how it turned out.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't feel like I have anything that exciting to update on, but I feel like you definitely do.
Dude.
Ethan recently went to I don't know if a
Alcohol
music production
Anonymous meeting to deal with my alcoholism. Yeah.
Hey, alcoholism is no joke.
Who says I'm joking? Are you saying that my alcoholism is a joke? Anyway, I actually am joking, and yes, alcoholism is not a joke. So, anyway, sorry. Please go.
Oh, that was it. I just I know you went to a conference recently. Why don't you share a little bit about your experience with that? This is the first time I'm hearing about it, so I'm excited to hear how that went for Ethan.
Yes, so Ethan Morissette went to Los Angeles, California for the first time as a musician. And period, but as a person.
Just the first time in general.
Just the first time in general. I also flew by myself for the first time ever, which was interesting and also good and a great experience. Like, great experience from the perspective of like knowing that I can handle it just fine. I knew I could handle it just fine, but now that I've done it, I'm like, for sure, right? This sounds so silly, but like, it is a thing. Yeah. And then on top of that, I went to a conference. I went to my first music conference. I've been mainly affiliated with a company called Taxi, where I've been submitting my music through to get music licensing opportunities, and they hold a conference every year, and I was recommended to go to it because a lot of people say it's really great. So I was like, you know what? I should go to it, right? It's a good challenge, a networking conference, for an introvert, right? And plus it's just, what is there to really lose except for my time? So I went to it and it was really good. It was this last weekend. I think there was just a lot of stuff that I gained out of it, and I'm an introvert, like I just said, but I was able to really suspend that for a little bit and be more like extroverted, and it was a lot easier to connect with people than I thought it would be, because it was such a supportive environment that it wasn't like I felt like I had to like worry about like, is my music good enough or not, right? Like the environment and the culture there was very much like artists supporting other artists, right? And so that was really cool and made that a lot easier. It also made it a lot easier because I had something in common with virtually everybody there, right? Everyone is trying to make some money from their music. Everyone is a musician, so everyone had an instrument that they played, everyone had a genre that they wrote in, so it was just actually made it a lot easier. But met tons of people there. I think I met like, I don't know if this is a lot or not, but I think I met like somewhere between 30 and 40 different people there. So that was like 10 people a day. And so I have like a crap ton of business cards to go through. And I I don't know. I think that was really good. I, again, didn't really know what to expect. I think even if I had met like a couple of people, I would have considered it better than what I had before, you know?
I would say, I would say 30 to 40 people. That's quite a lot in the span of 3 days. You might have, like a lot of, I've been to trade shows and stuff when I worked in export credit insurance and global trade and that sort of thing in another lifetime. But,
Yep.
when I did that, like, yeah, you might meet 30 people in the span of 3 days, and you might have five actual, like, after you follow up and talk with them, like, you might have five of those might turn into good connections or whatever, or maybe even less than that. But, that's good. I think that's a lot.
Well, and the thing is, even if you only got 5 contacts, like, those contacts have other contacts. So, like, your social circles start to overlap with other people. And so literally, the whole reason I found out about this conference is, I did that online course for music production, and through that, I met somebody who referred me to somebody else, and that person referred me to the Taxi conference. So, like, in a way, the only reason I went to the Taxi conference is because of that initial course that I did. So who knows where all these little connections will lead to later on. I already have action items. One of them I'm going to schedule a Zoom call with. They do like teaching and consultation and all that stuff. So I'm going to meet with them. And who knows, they've been in the industry for decades. So who knows what they know, and who they know. And that could lead to another thing. So it was really good. I met a lot of people. I learned a lot. It was great to just be surrounded by other musicians that are trying to make a living off of their music. I don't frankly know anybody like that. I know musicians, but I don't know musicians trying to make a living off of their music, right? Like in your case, you're a musician, you're a guitarist, but you're trying to make a living off of specifically building guitars. So there is there's overlap there, obviously, but it's not the same exact thing, right? So it was just really like refreshing to like get to meet other people that are doing basically the same type of thing that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And the other thing is you had people from all over the world there. You had people from there's somebody from Vermont that I met. There's somebody from Texas that I met. There's somebody from Oregon, Washington, obviously California because it was in Los Angeles. All over the world, even Germany. I met someone from Germany. And then all different age groups. There were probably people there that were in their 90s, 70s, whatever. Wow. And then there were people younger than me. So it was just this like cornucopia of like people at all different stages in their life from all over the world, but they're all trying to make a living off of music. So that was really cool to see. And like, I think really beneficial to me is not just meeting people who are at the same part in their journey as I am, but also meeting people that are farther along, much farther along, that have been doing it for decades. I thought that was really cool to get access and get to meet those people. So that was cool. And then, I learned a lot about what I'm doing, and I'm still digesting, but I'm already I've already identified some things that I can start doing to maybe increase my success. I've already identified some action items that I maybe need to work on to continue down this road. But it was a great exercise for learning more about music licensing, meeting more people, learning about what I'm capable of. I've never gone to a networking conference. I've never traveled on my own before. And so I learned a lot about that part of it too, even that I can handle all that just fine. and I'm
Mm-hmm.
and in fact thrive in that environment. So that was really cool to see for me. Um, it was just a really good experience. I'm glad that I did it. It was expensive, but again, for all the things gained, I think totally worth it. And now, like, I'll probably go back next year, but now it makes me want to go to more music conferences and connect with more people and be in like Nashville and be in LA and do more of that stuff, because I really do believe, I've talked about this. I wish music was just about skill and not about who you knew. But like, I do know that at the end of the day, people keep saying the music business is a people business. Because at its core, music is really about connecting, right? Connecting emotionally with other artists, connecting, just, it just really does come down to connection. And so whether it's a live show or connecting through an emotion or connecting through an experience you've had, so like it is part of the game. And so I think it makes me want to do that more. And I obviously see the benefit in continuing to expand my social circle of people that I know. So it's really good. It was really, really good. And if the other thing I wanted to add is, in preparation for this conference, it made sure that I had to have my crap together, right? I had to have my song catalog in a really easily searchable format. I had to make sure that my business card and the link that it sent them to was putting my best foot forward and making the best first impression. So just kind of was that little catalyst, right? To like make sure I had my crap together for other people listening to my music, so it was also a benefit for that. So it's really good. I mean, that was definitely the biggest thing that has been on that's been kind of a little bit looming over my head for the last like month or two. And now I've been through it. Now I can say that like I gained a lot from it, and I can just kind of right now ride the high of the benefits of that, right? So it was really good. It was really good. I think I impressed myself even. Could it have gone even better? Sure, but it went better than I think I expected it would have gone. So
that's awesome. That's good to hear. So I know you're probably still processing that, and you said you have some action items, and we could probably talk at length about those things.
Yep.
I guess I want to probe you a little bit. What if you could name like your three biggest takeaways? What would you say were your three biggest takeaways from the event?
Constructively, well, okay. I'm doing pretty well. I've submitted roughly around 20 songs. I've been with Taxi for about 6 months. I've had 4 forwards. Of all the experienced members I told that to, they said, "Oh, that's actually really good. Most people don't do that well, like from the get-go." So I've already got feedback that I'm doing better than expected, which I wouldn't have known that is the case if they hadn't told me. So that, just as on the encouraging side. On the things to work on side, my vocal production, got to level that up. And what I mean by that is not necessarily singing. Like, I'm not saying my voice is crap or anything like that, but vocal production, making it sound more polished, making it, whether that means taking more vocal takes or editing the vocals more. I got to hear a lot of people's music, and I realized that my vocal production is probably, a rung down on the ladder from what I heard a lot of. And obviously there were probably people there that their vocal production was even several rungs down from where I'm at. But again, I realize the competition is at this level and I'm here. So I got to work on my vocal production. I also got to figure out a way to output music faster because what I've been told is music licensing is a numbers game. It's not about producing the best tracks, although you do need to produce good tracks. It's not about producing the most emotional, heartfelt music. It's more of a numbers game. You're producing music as a tool for other people. You're not producing music to express yourself. At least that's not the whole point. To express yourself emotionally. So it's not all about making this like deep, emotional, heartfelt thing. It's about generating music that elevates a mood. It's a tool for a TV show or a movie or whatever. So I think learning to output music faster, I learned some techniques that I will try to implement, but I think that's another takeaway. I'm still kind of processing the other takeaways, but those are kind of the things that rise to the top as far as like stuff that I definitely need to work on, or it would be very beneficial to work on. The vocal production is the number one, I think, because yes, my vocal production still needs work. I already knew that probably going into the conference, but this just underlines it even more that if I can get my vocal production down, it will vastly increase the number of opportunities I have.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of one of the main focuses going forward.
Very cool. So a couple follow-up questions.
Yeah.
I guess, what would you say was your biggest success from the conference? What was your biggest challenge? And I had one other that's escaping me right now. But go ahead and your biggest success, and then your biggest challenge.
I mean, it's just kind of a general thing. I would say my biggest success is just in the number of people I took a leap of faith to like interact with and exchanging business cards. I did a lot more than I maybe expected to. My target was 20 people. I was like somewhere between 30 to 40. So I like vastly exceeded my target there. Biggest challenge I think was I kind of conked out at the end of each day, like at like 6:30. So like when the panels were done, and a lot of people went out to the bar after that. There's a bar in the hotel. And I think next year I want to try to spend a little bit more time there because there are some connections that also happen there. Especially with some of the industry pros, because they actually have time to intermingle at that point because they're not on panels. So I think that's maybe was the biggest, like, not failure, but thing I could have done more, on. But I mean, honestly, all in all, it was really good. And honestly, I feel like I really challenged myself and more or less exceeded a lot of my expectations. So
that's awesome. Sounds like it was a success. Speaking of success, last thing I'm going to ask you, what was your favorite moment of the conference, or just like favorite connection that you made?
I don't know. I don't know what my favorite moment was. The whole thing was pretty good. I guess the end when it was over. I don't know. I don't know if there was like a favorite moment. I met a lot of people, and like I don't know where any of those connections will go, but I guess the one that I'm most like feel optimistic about is I had a one-on-one mentor session for 15 minutes. But she and her husband do. I'm gonna wait. Actually, I can cut that out easily. Her and her husband do like consultations and like education sessions. So like I'm most optimistic about that because like she's been in the industry for quite a while and so is her husband, and they've had a lot of success. And so like that connection and that potential relationship going forward could potentially be really good for me. So I guess that connection that I made.
Cool.
But yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, sounds like it was a very successful weekend. Glad to hear it.
It was indeed. Thank you for asking.
Alrighty. Well, I don't think I really have too much more in the way of updates. What about you?
I think for me, like probably more stuff has happened. I guess I set up my acoustic treatment. I set up more acoustic treatment.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's probably about it. You can't really see it in the video, but
did you get some new lights? It does look a little different in there.
I don't know when we last talked, so I haven't gotten any new lights for like at least a month. But it might look a little different because I have a different color in the room, and now those panels on the back wall, they're now out from the wall, like there's an air gap. And so the light shines behind them now too, instead of just around them. So that might be part of why it looks different. I don't really know. But no new lights in the last like month at least. But yeah, practice. The only other thing is I've been practicing drums. I've been wanted to learn drums, so I've been just doing like basic exercises to start getting more coordinated. Eventually would love to start recording with drums that are not just clicked into a grid and are actually performed. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's all the major stuff. Biggest thing is the taxi conference for sure. What about you? Anything else?
I think that is all for this update episode. Until next time, stay tuned.